Thank you for joining us for our 15-minute silent meditation. Let us begin by taking a deep, centering breath.
Good morning and welcome to Creative Living Fellowship's online service. Please join me in singing Use Me. So much more than the earth and the stars and all of creation. God is creator, all in all, and God needs us to shine His light as me, as you. Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Command my hands, what must they do? Command my life, it's here for you. God is the love that heals all creation. God is creator, makes all things new, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.
Good morning. Welcome to Creative Living Fellowship. I'm the Reverend Dr. Sherry F. McCreary. I'm the senior minister here at Creative Living Fellowship, and it is my pleasure and honor to welcome you here this Easter Sunday. Happy Easter to all of you, and we're very, very happy to have you with us this day. We are a religious science church and teaching center, and we welcome all paths that lead to truth. We have a vision of being a community of care, connection, and creation that opens hearts and incubates dreams, and we do that through the principles and practices of the science of mind. One of our practices here is holding the high watch, and what that means is that we have a practitioner today who's holding a space for the perfect unfolding of this service. She's holding a space for the perfect unfolding of anything that's going on in our lives. She's holding a space for the perfect unfolding of this time that we're going through right now. That practitioner today is Rhonda Emmerich, and we thank her so much for her service. Thank you, Rhonda, for holding high watch for us today. That means that she's sitting in meditation and prayerful contemplation throughout this service, just as I said, holding that space for us. And that's one of the practices that we do have here. Speaking of practitioners, I'd like to just recognize the practitioners here at Creative Living Fellowship. They had Practitioner Sunday was last Sunday, which was Palm Sunday. And ordinarily, they also do a rose blessing on Palm Sunday, but we couldn't quite figure out how to do that online. So they just did the whole service last week. They did a great job, and I'd like to thank the Practitioner Corps for doing that. Thanks to all of you. And also, the practitioners facilitated the Good Friday service, and that happened Friday, Good Friday. They usually do that every year, and they did again this year, and it was just wonderful. It was online only, and we are very appreciative of that. So thank you, practitioners. So let's take a breath together. As I would like to just welcome our guests who are with us online this morning. I'm so glad that we have technology so that we can continue to bring you our services online, and you can continue to worship with us this day. Our AV team today is Luis Morales and Nicole Jordan. We thank you very much. And for those of you who are watching us or serving with us for the first time, we would like to just welcome you here. And we have a welcome message that we give to our first-time guests, and I'll just give it to you myself. And that is, whoever you are, wherever you've been, whatever brought you to our service today, we welcome you here into our hearts. Namaste. Namaste is a Sanskrit word that means the God in me recognizes and honors the God in you, and that we do. So welcome. We're happy that you're here with us, and I invite you to take a breath with us in this moment. We're going to have our video announcements by Nicole Jordan, and the announcements will be followed by a brief gong wash, and then after the gong wash, there'll be a moment of silence, and practitioner Fran Peck will then bring us our reading and our opening prayer. I invite you to really take the words of the reading into your hearts, into your minds, and allow them to find a place of resonance there with you. But first, we're going to have the announcements.
Good morning, Creative Living Fellowship. Are you ready for your announcements? Remember to join us for midday meditation on Facebook Live at noon, Monday through Thursday. CLF families, remember to check our Creative Living Youth Group for our Sunday lessons, daily quotes, meditations, and other amazing content for our little creators. And if you're not already in the group, go ahead and check a link in the comments below for the group. And remember that this is limited to our kids and families. Next Sunday, John Stringer is our special guest. I am so happy he's going to be with us. And he is providing at noon the Art of Listening to Genius workshop. In this 90-minute workshop, explore the practical, intuitive abilities that allow you to listen to spirit, open up to the genius within you, and express more of what may be latent. If you are or ever wished you were intuitive or simply want to know how to access your God-given abilities on demand, this online workshop is for you. Join life teacher, healer, author, and Billboard charting singer John Stringer on a Zoom meeting at noon for this powerful workshop. You'll find a link below for a form, and you will get an email with that Zoom link. And the workshop is offered for a love offering.
Hey guys, Rachel Cruz here. Can you imagine having no debt? That means no car payments, no student loans, no credit card bills, no payments. Hard to imagine, isn't it? We live in a culture where debt is considered normal. 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. That means 8 out of 10 people heard the same thing you did. You can't survive without debt. Everyone knows that. Except it probably sounded more like, you can't live without a car payment. You have to have a credit card. You can't go to college without student loans. So what'd you do? Well, you got a loan for your car. You have not just 1, not 2, but 3 credit cards, and you'll be paying for college into retirement. And now, before you know it, debt starts to weigh you down. You see, Proverbs 22:7 is true. The rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. When you owe someone else your paycheck, the money comes in and goes right back out, and you don't have anything left to pay yourself or to bless others. And this isn't the life God wants for you. But we have a step-by-step plan that can help. It's called Financial Peace University, and it has helped over 5 million people learn God's ways of handling money. And you can get out of debt, save, invest, and make giving a part of your daily life. And with Financial Peace University, you can start today.
Rochelle McCreary and Monica Zykis are facilitating our Financial Peace University class and helping us shift our financial circumstances. Class starts Wednesday, May 13th at 6:30 p.m. Register online today with the link found in the comments. And that's it for today's announcements. It is now time to move on to our gong wash. I'll see you online.
We let go of all disease and disharmony. They slip back into the tomb of oblivion. For the spiritual body now rises triumphant in every cell. We are instantly renewed by the creative principle of eternal life that is within us. We are alive and aware, and we know that the kingdom of God is here and is within us this moment. Thou art the center and circumference of my life, the beginningless and endless part of me, the eternal reality of me, the everlasting power within me. Thou art my whole being. This reading is from 365 Science of Mind, A Year of Daily Wisdom, from Ernest Holmes, April 1st, Renewal. Let's take this into prayerful contemplation as we do our opening prayer. And as we turn within and deepen into the awareness of that one power, that one presence, that one life. Knowing on this beautiful Easter Sunday that there is only that one life, that one power, that one activity. That life is love. That life is peace. That life is harmony. And that life is joy. That life is my life now. I am of that life. That life lives, moves, has its being, and expresses uniquely and individually as me. And knowing that this is the truth of my being, I know it is the truth of us all. We are all of that life, that power, that presence, that love. And so secure in this knowing, I speak a word of blessing over this service, knowing that it unfolds perfectly and divinely. I bless Reverend Sherry and her message. I bless each and every one of our congregants. And I send special blessings out into this world, anywhere where there is disharmony or the appearance of disease. I speak special blessing for our first responders, for our medical professionals, and for anyone impacted at this time. And so I pray love and peace into this service, and love and peace over us all, knowing that we are all divinely guided and divinely protected. So in this knowing and in thanksgiving and profound gratitude for the perfect manifestation of this service, the perfect manifestation of this day, I release my word into that law that only knows yes, that only knows love. I release in faith, I release in trust, I release in truth, knowing that it is already done. And we simply allow it to be now. And so it is. Amen.
I close my eyes, I open my heart, I take a deep breath, let the healing start. I lift my hands, I plant my feet, I let love in. I feel the beat that's calling us to rise, rise. Spirit, rise up, rise in me. I ready my soul, I clear my mind. I'm here and now, in present time. I feel the power of 1,000 suns lighting up the dark. Oh, we rise as one. Oh, rise. Oh, rise. I sing to you, you sing to me. Change up this noise, make sweet harmony. Arise, arise, Spirit, rise up, arise in me. Arise, Spirit, rise, Spirit, rise up, arise in me. Heart to heart, all hand in hand, no turning back, onward to promised land. Do you feel the power of a thousand suns lighting up the dark? Oh, we rise as one. Love's calling, oh, it's calling me to rise. Oh, love's calling. Oh, that's why we came. Love's calling. Oh, it's calling out my name. Love's calling. Oh, that's why we came. Oh, rise. Oh, rise. Oh, Spirit, rise up. Oh, rise in me. Oh, rise. Oh, Spirit, rise. Oh, Spirit, rise up. Oh, won't you rise up? Oh, rise in me. Oh, rise in me. Oh, Spirit, rise. Oh, won't you rise? Oh, rise in me.
Wow. Rise up. That was our special musical inspiration today. Kirsten Plimbeck David, thank you so much for being here with us today. We are so blessed to have her here and to sing. And our music director, David Panessa, is here today. Because we are practicing social distancing, we could not have the Gods in the House band, but we really do miss them, and we really do love them. And hello, guys, we can't wait till we're all together again. And let's just take a breath together. I love that song. Rise up. This is a time for us to rise up. That's what we think of at Easter time, rising up. Easter's a time for joy and celebration, and a time of a triumphant time, a time of overcoming. And that's what we think of with Easter Sunday. And I can remember the joy as a child of Easter Sunday. I was, as Christian was singing, I was thinking about the Easter parades that we used to have in the South when I was a child. In my hometown, there were three churches, and they had Easter programs, and there was one at 1 o'clock, and there was one at 3 o'clock, and there was one at 5 o'clock, and we had to go to each one of them, and we wore our Easter outfits, and there was an Easter parade through the little town of little girls and little boys in their Sunday finest, in their Easter finest, and that was a time gone by, but it was a time that I always remember at Easter time. So this is a different kind of Easter for us, a different kind of celebration, a different kind of joy that we get to experience, a different kind of beingness that we get to experience on this Easter Sunday, because things have changed so much. Things are so different. Yet we know that joy comes from within. And so we have to be in that place where we are as we just allow ourselves to celebrate this time, to allow ourselves to be in this time, allow ourselves to really get into the energy, the consciousness of what Easter is all about. Let me just back up a minute and just remind you that our theme for the year is life is for living. Just say yes. Life is for living, just say yes. Life is for living, just say yes. And during this time even, life is for living. Just say yes to it. Yes, just say yes to where we are. Life is for living. And the theme for the month of April is precious moments. Precious moments. Precious moments. And I selected that theme because it is so important for us as we go through this time in recognizing that life is for living, to really look at and experience the precious moments of our lives. Those moments that are valuable, and all moments are valuable. Those moments that are priceless, those moments that we need to savor in each and every moment of each and every day. And we need to find them throughout the day as we go through what appear to be dark times. You know, another thing about Easter is that there's so much symbolism around Easter. You know, the crucifixion was the giving up, the giving up of the whole personality to the Christ consciousness. And that's what Jesus was doing, giving up the whole personality, the man Jesus, as he moved into Christ consciousness. And the resurrection was what was the rising up, the uplifting of the human into the divine, the uplifting of the human consciousness, the whole person into the Christ consciousness. And so resurrection is not something that just happens one day a year. Resurrection happens all the time. It happens in each and every moment of each and every day, and we each have an opportunity to move into that consciousness of resurrection all the time, of rising up, of allowing our consciousness to rise up into the Christ consciousness, letting go of the old, letting go of that which is, letting the old just die away as we then come into that place of rising up, into that Christ consciousness, the truth of our being, who we truly are. The cross represents the burden, you know, the burdens of life, and just breaking it down, the perpendicular bar of the cross represents the current of the divine life that is within us. That's what it runs throughout us. That's what the perpendicular bar of the cross represents. The horizontal bar represents the cross current of human limitations. The cross current of human limitations. We are always dealing with a cross in our lives. There's always that perpendicular bar. There's always that divine current, that divine life that runs through everything, that divine truth that is in everything. And then it crosses the cross current of human limitations, of human ideas, of human beliefs. And so the resurrection, the rising up for us, is to let go of the human beliefs, let go of the limiting beliefs that we have. And that's what Jesus taught. That was the whole message of the resurrection, is that we can enter the gateway of heaven, the kingdom of God, not through death, but through releasing our limiting beliefs while we're here. Releasing our limiting beliefs while we're here. That's what the resurrection is all about. And when we get to recognize that, we recognize that a resurrection is always going on. And that's the consciousness we want to be in, the consciousness of there's a resurrection going on. There's a resurrection going on. There's a resurrection going on in my life right here, right now. There's a resurrection going on right here, right now in our world. There's a resurrection going on in our individual lives, in our communities, everywhere. There's a resurrection happening. But you know, the thing that we like to do when we think about the crucifixion and the resurrection, we forget about the time in between. We forget about, that was Good Friday where there was a crucifixion, then there was Holy Saturday when Jesus was in the tomb, and then there was the third day when he arose, and that was the resurrection. We want to jump from the crucifixion to the resurrection, and we forget about that middle part. We forget about that middle part. If we look at the time that we are going through right now with the virus that's happening, and there's so much loss and so much grief and so much pain and so much darkness, it seems. It seems like this is the crucifixion. And knowing that what we want to do now is jump from the crucifixion to the resurrection and get back to normal. But where we are now is in that middle part. We're in that middle ground. The crucifixion, the middle ground, which is where we are now, that place where transformation happens, because transformation has to happen before we can get to the resurrection. There has to be transformation before we can get to the resurrection. And so I invite you to really allow yourself to be where you are. It's necessary for us to be where we are right now. Be with whatever we're feeling, be with whatever we're experiencing. Just be in it. You know, that middle day, Jesus was just in it. He just in it. We don't have any record of what was going on during that time. But he was in it before he had to be in it and to fully surrender to it before he could rise up. And that's what we have to do. We have to be in it. We have to be fully surrendered and willing to surrender to whatever is going on before we can rise up and overcome our limiting beliefs about it. And so that brings me to the topic for today, which is roll away the stone. Roll away the stone. Roll away the stone. You know, the stone is symbolic of what was happening. The tomb in which Jesus was buried was a cave back in that day. People were buried in these caves, and then there was a stone, a big boulder, that was rolled to the mouth of the cave that would keep out the animals and keep wild animals and keep people from stealing the bodies or whatever else. And then the tomb was sealed with the stone that was placed before the entrance. Let's take a breath. My mind is going faster than my mouth. So what happens was the women of the village would come into the tombs and wash the bodies, cleanse the bodies, anoint them with oil and spices, and prepare them for just continuing on the journey of death and transformation into the next life. Well, when Jesus was put into the tomb on the third day, when the women went to, Mary and the other women went in to anoint his body with spices and with oils, they were wondering who was going to roll the stone away, because it's written that the stone weighed as much as a ton. So how could they roll that stone away? They were concerned about that. And when they got there, they realized that the stone had already been moved. The stone was had already been rolled away. And so they went in, and Jesus wasn't there, of course. But the point is that the stone had been rolled away, and the stone represents any barrier that we may have to our goal, any barrier. Their goal was to go in and anoint the body. But the stone represents anything that may be a barrier for us. And so I ask you, what are the stones that are blocking our hearts? What are the stones that are keeping us from being free? Because once that stone is rolled away, there's freedom. There's renewal. There's an opportunity to start a new life. There's an opportunity to start again. There's an opportunity to move forward. There's an opportunity to move from this place of apparent death into the new place of life. But as long as the stones are there, it's very, very difficult for us to do. In fact, it's impossible to do. And so I'm inviting you today to look at the stones in your own life. Where are the stones? What stones are blocking your heart? What stones are keeping you from the resurrection, from experiencing the resurrection? It could be the stone of judgment. It could be the stone of judging what's happening now, how people are responding, reacting to what's happening now. It could be the stone of pity and sadness. It could be the stone of grief. It could be the stone of anger. It could be the stone of anger. But you know what's coming to me? The biggest stone of all, the one that feels like it weighs a ton, is the stone of fear. It's that stone of fear. It's the stone of fear that is the boulder that's blocking everything. And so when we are in that place of fear, then it's impossible for us to get to the resurrection, because we cannot move beyond the doorway. We can't move beyond the place where we are, because fear has us blocked in there. And so when we roll away that stone of fear, and sometimes we have to take it one little step at a time, one little step at a time, one little step at a time, one little step at a time. Because there are always things that are coming up that makes us fearful. There are always things coming up that makes us, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? Oh my gosh, all these people are losing their jobs. Oh my gosh, I just lost my job. Oh my gosh, we don't have a paycheck coming in. Oh my goodness, somebody that we know is sick. Oh my goodness, it's an oh my goodness kind of mentality that we get into. And when we get into that, then the fear just takes over. And then we start to get into the what ifs, and the what ifs, and the what ifs. And what we have to do is just to stop. We have to just stop and just recognize, okay, this is where I am. This is where we are. This is what's going on. We feel so uncomfortable because we're not sure what's going to happen next. We're not sure what the next thing is going to be. But do you know we've never known what the next thing was going to be? We have never known what the next thing was going to be. Even when we thought life was normal, we didn't know what the next thing was going to be. We didn't know what the next thing was going to happen. A month ago, we would not have thought, 2 months ago, we would not have thought we'd be here in this place. We were planning to go on and go on and go on and do the things that we had planned just with here in our community, our church community. We had our calendar all laid out and classes all set up and guest speakers coming in and workshops happening and concerts planned for the summer and all kinds of things that were going to happen. And here we are. Here we are. Here we are. We would never have thought that we would be in a place where we couldn't see each other, where we couldn't hug each other. We had our meet and greet here at the church on Sunday mornings. And you know what? Those were the kinds of things that we took for granted. And you know, one of the stones that we have to roll away is that stone of taking things for granted and taking people for granted. Because we never know. We have to live in the moment. We have to live in the moment. We have to be aware of each moment being a precious moment. When I look back on those meet and greets that we had, and the times that we got to hug each other, and the times that we got to wander up and down the aisles and not come back to our seats when it was time to come back to our seats here, when I look back on that, oh my gosh, how precious that was. How precious that time was. But you know what? That was in the past. What we have to do now is look at the precious moments that we have right here and right now, in this moment, and make this a resurrection moment. Make this a moment of rising up. Make this a moment of overcoming. Make this a moment of knowing the truth of our being. Make this a moment of recognizing that the divine is in the midst of everything that's going on. Make this a moment of letting go of the human consciousness, the human sense consciousness, to letting go of that into that Christ consciousness, into that higher consciousness, into that higher place. And we do that by surrendering. We do that by opening our minds. We do that by opening our hearts. We do that by trusting the only thing that is. By trusting the only thing that is. We do that by practicing the principles that we know. We do that by coming back to basics, by recognizing that we are each and all made in the image and likeness and out of God itself. And when we come back to that knowing and stand in that knowing, I don't care what's going on, we have to keep coming back to it and keep coming back to it and keep coming back to it. And when we start to do that, when we continue to do that, that's how we shift our consciousness. That's how we move into that place of transformation so that we can experience a resurrection moment. So that we can experience a resurrection moment. And we experience that in each and every moment. And we have to keep saying to ourselves, there's a resurrection happening right here and right now within me. There's a resurrection happening as I let go of this fear. There's a resurrection happening as I let go of taking things for granted, of taking people for granted. As I let go of judging others. As I let go of my sense of lack and limitation of any kind. There's a resurrection happening because when I let go of the lack, I can open myself up to the abundance that is. When I let go of the fact that, yes, I was laid off from my job, but my job was not my source. That was not my source. And when we are so focused on a job or a paycheck or a whatever it may be, whatever channel, that's just a channel through which God works to bring the good into our lives, to show up as good in our lives. So when we get so hung up on the thing, then we lose the awareness of the source. We lose our awareness of the source. God is our source. And yes, I'm not denying or diminishing in any way the fact that it can feel scary when you've lost your job. It can feel scary when you don't have a paycheck. It can feel scary when you don't know where the next meal is coming from. And if we can breathe into that moment and say, you know what, I'm feeling really scary right now, but I know that God is my source. And I know that God is in the midst, and I know that my needs are being met in this moment. And standing in that truth, not deserting the truth now. As Ernest Holmes says, that when we desert the truth in our hour of need, it proves that we don't know the truth. And so we don't want to be in that place. As practicing religious scientists, we want to practice the principles that we know. Yes, I feel the fear, and I know that God is my source. Yes, I feel the fear, and I know that I can rise above this by changing my thinking. By changing my thinking, I can change my life, and I can change my experience. I know that I can come back to basics. And what we have to do, now that we have this time at home, now that we have this time when we can't go out, now that we have this time where we can't socialize other than online, we have a time now to just embrace the silence. We have a time now to embrace our aloneness. Even if there are 5 people in your house, even if there are 7 kids running around, and 2 or 3 dogs. Even in the midst of all that, there is a place to which we can come. There's a place to which we can come that is always awaiting our recognition of it, that is always awaiting our recognition, that place where we can come to be filled up, that place where we can come to be nurtured, that place where we can come to be centered, that place where we can come to recognize who we really are, to remember who we really are, to rise up in consciousness. That place where we can come to overcome our limited beliefs. That place where we can come to overcome our fears. That place where we can come to overcome our sense of lack. That place where we can come to overcome anything that is unlike the unlimited potential that is ours simply by divine birthright. That place to which we can come over and over and over again. And so I'm inviting you this day to experience the resurrection moment. Yes, we are as I said, we're in the crucifixion moment, but we can't jump to the resurrection. Go through the transformation period and know that you're never walking alone. That you're never walking alone. And even as we go through that transformation period, there's a resurrection in that period. Every time we're able to remove a stone, every time we're able to forgive somebody, because this is a good time for reflection about our relationships, about the way we have interacted with each other, the way we interact with each other even now. Even in our social distancing, sometimes we have a chance to reflect on things and we recognize there's a huge forgiveness issue there. There's a huge forgiveness stone blocking the entrance to my heart. And so when I can release and roll away that stone of unforgiveness, then my heart can open. And all the love that can pour forth, that's a precious moment. Rolling away that stone of unforgiveness, somebody that you've been holding a grudge against, somebody that you've been resenting, someone that you've been talking about, someone you've been judging, someone you've been blaming. As we go through looking at these, and these may be, some of them may be little pebbles, and some of them may be little rocks, and some of them may be bigger stones, and some of them may be boulders. Some of them may be boulders. But it's up to us to spend this time to take these precious moments that we have to reflect on what it is. What does the stone look like? What is this stone? Where is this stone? And who is going to move it? Who's going to move it? We have to be willing to allow the stones to be rolled away. And that requires us sometimes to do spiritual practice over and over and over and over and over again. And we just keep doing it. We keep going. We keep moving forward so that we can all rise up, so that we can all experience the resurrection, so that we can all experience that new day and that new way that lies ahead. Yes, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. But you know what? There can be a block. There can be boulders, there can be stones or whatever to block us from getting to the end of that tunnel where the light is. And so we want to allow the light in fully by standing in the truth that we know and doing what we know is necessary for us to do to free ourselves up. This is an opportunity to live a totally different way, to have a totally different way of life. We're all being called up. We're all being called up to do something different, to be more. We're all being called up to be more. It's no accident that what has happened is happening now. It's no accident that all of a sudden the whole world is being affected by this. It's no accident that we're all being called to look at how we're living, look at what we say we want. How do we? It's interesting how the planet has started to change. How cities that were so overcome with pollution and whatever are now the air is cleaner because we're all at home. The animals are now coming out more because we're all at home. They have more space. You know, we start to look at all the changes that are happening. Just nature is happening itself. God is just really revealing itself and just really being itself through the animals, being itself through clean air, being itself through nature, being itself without the limitations of humans interfering, that cross current of human beings. And so when we recognize that we're the cross current, our limited beliefs are the cross current, our actions, our thoughts, our consciousness present that cross current, then we have to look at, well, what are my beliefs? How do I change this? So that we can have the life we say we want. How can I change this so that we can move into that place of knowing what God's vision is for this planet, what God's vision is for my life, what God's vision is for this community, what God's vision is for this world. Because you know what? God has a vision. God has a vision for this world. God has his own vision of what it wants to look like, how it wants to show up in this world. And what we want to do is to move into alignment and be in alignment with God's vision so that it can unfold through each of us. Because God's vision can only unfold through us. And so we have to be those open places and those open spaces for God's vision to unfold. And we do that in our resurrection moments. We do that in our moments of opening up. We do that in our moments of standing in the truth that we know, coming back to basics. Coming back to basics, practicing the principles, standing in the truth, recognizing over and over again who we are. Standing in our meditation practice more and more, deepening in that practice, deepening in our prayer practice, deepening in our kindness gestures toward each other, toward ourselves, toward our family members that we cooped up in the house with. And we have to practice kindness. We have to practice compassion. Being compassionate, recognizing that we are each experiencing this turbulent time in our own unique way. And we have to give each other the space to do that. We have to give each other the space to grow through this time. That's what we're doing. We're all growing through this time. And we have to give each other the space to grow through this time without judgment, without blame, without resentment, without shame. Just giving each other this time and the space to grow through this time and loving each other through this time as much as we possibly can, opening our hearts more and more each and every moment of each and every day. That's how we experience these precious moments that lead us to our own resurrection. And so I want us to really allow our mantra to be, as we go through this time, not just today, Easter Sunday, but as we go through this time in our lives, allow our mantra to be, there's a resurrection going on. There's a resurrection going on within me. There's a resurrection going on within my life right here and right now. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. There's a resurrection going on right here, right now. That resurrection, that overcoming, that becoming, because that's what we're all about. We're becoming. Because when Jesus went into that tomb, and 3 days later he came out, he wasn't recognized by his friends because the transformation had happened. The transformation had happened. His friends didn't recognize him. He had to tell them who he was because that consciousness had shifted. And so what if when we came back here together as a community, just here in CLF and in other communities that people who are watching us online may be going back to, what if we go back to those communities and people don't recognize us because we're so different? What if we're so joyful? What if our consciousness has reached the point where people feel like there's a healing happening just being in your presence? There's a healing happening just being in your presence. And do you know that when you are practicing the presence of God, when you are in that place of knowing the truth of your being and who you are, and knowing that there's a resurrection happening in each and every moment, do you know that people are healed simply by being in your presence? People are healed simply by being in your presence. People are healed simply by being in your presence. The healing begins with you. The healing begins with me. And then it expands out. Then it extends out into the world. It extends out into the world. So let's set a goal. Let's set it as our mission to be unrecognizable when we come back, because our consciousness is so high. Our consciousness is so high, people don't recognize us. People come up and start wanting to gossip, and you're like, what are you talking about? Rumor spreading, or whatever the case may be, or judging, or blaming, and you don't even vibrate at that level, so you don't know what they're talking about. That's the place where we want to be. That's the transformation that we have the opportunity to have happen and to experience right here and right now. That is the resurrection moment for each one of us, right here and right now. This is our Easter story. We each have a personal Easter story. This is our Easter story. And so I invite you to experience your own resurrection and to really be aware of it in each and every moment, to be mindful, to say yes to the resurrection that's happening within each one of us right here and right now. And so let's take a breath in this moment as we just say yes. Yes to this precious moment of overcoming our humanness, our human beliefs, our human limitations, as we say yes to opening our hearts and opening our minds and opening our entire being to that Christ consciousness that just awaits our recognition of it, our acceptance of it, our yes to it. So let's just say yes to that Christ consciousness. Let's say yes to this precious moment of resurrection. Let us just say yes right here and right now. And so I invite you to turn within with me in this moment for prayer. Just recognizing that one power, recognizing that one life, recognizing that one being, recognizing that one source, recognizing that one presence, recognizing that one activity, recognizing that one breath, that one intelligence. I choose to call it God, but we don't have to call it anything. We don't have to call it anything. It just is. It just is, whether we call it anything or not. And this isness that I call God is my very life. This isness is the life and the source of us all. This is what I know to be true. It is the source of us all. There's nothing that can separate us from it, because we are made of God itself. And there's nothing to separate it except our own limited beliefs. And so I'm speaking a word for each of us this day as we let go of our limited beliefs, as we let go of our limiting beliefs, and we open our hearts, allowing the stone of limited beliefs to just be rolled away, and opening our hearts to love, opening our hearts to trust, opening our hearts to abundance, opening our hearts to prosperity, opening our hearts to God. And as we do this, we experience in this resurrection moment, we experience in this moment of moving into that Christ consciousness, we experience in this moment of moving into that place of oneness where there is no separation, where we are transparencies for the divine. This is the word that I speak for each of us this day. And just knowing that as we move into that place of oneness, we move into that place of alignment, we move into that place that all things are made new in our lives, that healing is happening in our body temples, knowing that every cell, every organ, every tissue, every function of our bodies is radiating that healing presence of God and responding to that presence of God, whatever we may call the discomfort or the dis-ease. We just move into that place of wholeness and allow allow God to be itself in and through and as our lives. And I know that our bodies of affairs are filled with God's presence. And any sense of lack, any sense of limitation, any sense of loss is filled with the presence of God. That all things are made new, that which we have thought we lost is renewed, is found, is restored by this word that's being spoken here this day. I know that there's abundance. I know there's prosperity. I know that there is health and there's wholeness. I know that as we release fear, that there's love. There's love, there's trust, there's faith that is being restored right here and right now by in each one of us. And so I just give great thanks. I give great thanks for this awareness that God is all there is. That God is all there is. That God is all there is. And opening my heart as we open our hearts to allow that allness to fill us up. And so I pause momentarily in this circle of prayer so that you may speak the names of anyone you'd like held in prayer. You may speak their names silently or loud, but you may speak them now. And so for all those whose names are spoken here this day, I know that God is in the midst of everything. God is in the midst of whatever's going on, whatever situation, whatever circumstance, whatever event that shows up, God is in the midst of it, and healing is happening everywhere. All those who are impacted by the coronavirus in their physical bodies, I know that God is in the midst. I know that healing is happening. I know that there's a dissolving of anything that appears to block this healing presence and this wholeness of God, that we are all restored to that oneness, to that place of oneness and of knowing the truth of oneness. This prayer goes out to everybody on this planet, anybody needing a prayer this day. I know simply that God is. And I give great thanks in this moment. Thank you, Father, Mother God. I just allow it to be. It is done, and so it is. So just take a breath with me as we move into our offering time, the time that we give of our tithes and give of our offerings. Let's just breathe into that place of just being in this moment of resurrection, in this moment of rising up. CLF is a tithing church. We tithe to organizations in the community who are doing good in the world, who are uplifting and helping others. And we invite you to join us in this sacred practice by tithing with us here, by pressing the donate button on your Facebook page or on our website, and joining in this time with us. Even though we can't be here for in-person services, and those have been suspended for now, our financial obligations have not been. So we invite you to continue to support us here at CLF, support your community by tithing here today. And it's really easy if you press the auto tithe option, because you don't have to think about it anymore. It just automatically happens whenever you say it's supposed to happen. So Deb Covington, our song leader for the day, is going to lead us in our offering song. And those of you who are watching us online, you know this song. Let's sing it together. I Say Yes.
I say yes every
just say our offering blessing together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I circulate. And so it is. So I just have a couple of closing announcements before Kirsten sings our closing song. Don't leave yet. You want to hear her sing again. Don't forget that we have on-call practitioners. If you're in need of prayer and you'd like to have a practitioner pray with you, please go to our website and click the prayer button, and you will see a list of practitioners who are available for prayer and to pray with you. Please avail yourself of that service. Anytime you want, you can just call a practitioner. Thank you for joining us today. I have one special announcement. We're going to have a Tuesday evening Zoom connection call with CLF community. And just the time that I will spend with you to answer your questions, to give you updates on what's going on here. And we're going to be doing that this Tuesday at 6 o'clock on Zoom. You will be getting an email with the Zoom link. And look forward to that. I look forward to connecting with you in that way. I look forward to seeing you in that way, since I can't see you, and answering your questions. So check your email for the Zoom link Tuesday, day after tomorrow, at 6 o'clock. Next week, we're excited to welcome back John Stringer. If you recall, John was here back in October. He sings, he's a speaker, he's a singer, he's an author. He did a workshop here, and he will be here with us next week for music and message, and for another workshop. There'll be a workshop at noon next Sunday for John Stringer, so you don't want to miss that. Those of you who experienced him and his workshop last time were very, very happy with him. So I invite you to tune in next Sunday so that you can experience John Stringer again. Continue to check your newsletter and our Facebook page, so that you will know the happenings and the updates about what's going on here. And continue to check the CDC website. We invite you to do that to keep up with what's going on and what precautions we need to be taken. I'd just like you to know that there are a few people here in the sanctuary, those who, Fran and the AV team and the musicians, but we're all practicing, and Cheryl, we're all practicing social distancing, and we're all wearing masks except for me and us who are on camera right this minute, and on microphone right now, but we are really practicing good social distancing and taking really good care. And I'm trusting that you're all doing the same. So I'll just take a breath, and I invite you to continue to read the treatment for supply. It is so important not to give up now. That's our prayer treatment. It covers everything in your life. And so I invite you to read it twice a day, and read it with feeling, read it with meaning, read it with gusto. And most of all, continue to connect with each other, continue to make phone calls, send texts, connect on FaceTime or Facebook, whatever you need to do, however you can connect with each other, just to say, I love you, just to say, I miss you, just to say, I'm thinking of you, and just knowing that we hold each other in our hearts. I love you all, I miss you very much, and I look forward to seeing you very, very soon, and we will be doing this again next week. Take good care.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on me. Well, when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. For it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Sing with me, you just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. If there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry on, I'm right up the road. I'll share your load if you just call me. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody. We all need somebody to